Robert, first of all, it's always a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk to a kind of movie legend. You read a lot of stories and scripts, I guess. So what was the main argument for you to say, okay, I'm about to do Welcome to Marwen?
The main argument was I loved the idea of the story that's about the healing power of art, and that this man who was traumatized uses this art form that he creates to work out this emotional healing for himself.
The world-famous Marwen, Mark's art installation.
What I always love about your movies is that you just do not tell a story, you always create worlds around them. So what would you say, what does a believable world needs in your opinion?
Well, I think that if you're going to create a world, the thing that I think in a situation, well, in the situation of Welcome to Marwen, what was important is that the audience understood how the world was, how they were entering and exiting the world, and where it was in how I was bringing the world to the audience and where they would fit into the world. I guess the simple way to answer the question is the audience has to know what the rules of the world are, and that's what makes it usually work.
I was a hell of a good artist, and now I can barely write my name, so my dolls have to tell a story.
At your service, mademoiselle.
I think that it's I'm very excited when I see your movies because you mix new technology with storytelling, and there's always very high level of technology. So what's the point that makes you so exciting about testing new stuff or mixing technology with reality stuff in movies?
Well, I think that one of the responsibilities for filmmakers is to tell stories that are unique to the cinema experience. And I think that one of the things that you can only do or only experience when you go to a movie is to see things that you can't see in any other art form. So by definition, that means that we are creating a new way to present these moving images that you can't see anywhere else. So that's sort of what I like to do.
And you're still hungry to tell and show us more, I hope.
As long as it's rooted in as long as it's rooted in a story about a character that I think is an interesting story to tell, yes.
Great. For me, it was a little bit about being rescued, of course, by art, and but also by people who surrounds you. So everyone has kind of people who rescue us from the smaller or from the biggest things. So who are the people during a production, for example, who are your lifeguards?
Oh boy, they're like, I mean, for me...
You can name them all.
Name them all. Well, I think the most important ones, obviously, the screenwriter, and then secondly, then it's the cast. I've always said that good filmmaking is good writing and good acting. So when an actor can interpret something that's written and do it in a way that is really brings it to life and is really unique and special, that's always rescuing the director for sure.
When are you gonna man up and put an end to this crap?
What are you talking about?
We're one and the same, pal. If I can be a hero, so can you.
Mark got beaten for being a little different. Why are so many people what do you think? Why are so many people afraid of people who like things that are different, or who are a little bit weirdos or kind of different? What do you think? Why are people so afraid that they, for example, get aggressive?
They're just afraid. They're afraid of. I think they're rooted in their own. They're afraid in themselves, and that's why they don't know what to do with their own inborn fear, and so they scapegoat other people to try to, and then they want everyone to conform to what they want them to be because it gives them a sense of control, although it's a phony control. But it gives them a way to put their own personal fear at bay. And I think that's the root of the whole issue.
What do you think this is, the Indy 500?
When I go to the movie theater, I love to be in kind of in a peaceful bubble to watch a story, and to see kind of pleading for acceptance, tolerance, and stuff like this. Do you think that people who are not kind of peaceful, or they don't accept people in the way they should do they watch those movies, and do we get them in our bubble, do you think?
Eventually. I mean, ultimately they will, ultimately they will. Hopefully they will, and hopefully people will embrace the story. But I think it takes a long time, and I think it's something that will ultimately happen, and they will catch up to the movie in a way that's unexpected, and maybe they'll, be a little bit enlightened.
I guess movie industry changed a lot in the last 20 years, just from my point of view, from kind of movie-going people. For you as a filmmaker, and you've done your job for a couple of years, so what is the positive aspect you see in the change of the movie industry, and what kind of negative aspects do you see in comparison, for example, from the 80s or the 90s?
Well, I think that, look, I mean, the positive aspect is that, we have this ability now for everyone to catch up with movies and see everything if they're so inclined, because our technology allows us to do that. So, you can watch movies on so many different platforms, to use terminology of the time. The thing that I think might be an unfortunate aspect is whether people feel the necessity to go to the cinema to see a movie in an audience environment, because that's an experience that is unique and is really thrilling. And I'd be sad if it vanished. I wouldn't want to. I would always be making films that would be made for people to see in an audience situation. But I know that most people watch them in solitude. But they play differently when you see them in an audience.
That's right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to see it again. So,
great. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
I believe I've waited long enough.
It's the only way Mark's gonna heal.
I got your back, Hoagie.